Time has a strange way of reshaping how we remember football history. Moments that once felt tense and fragile slowly transform into mythology, stripped of their pressure and chaos. But if you return to December 2022, to Doha, Qatar, nothing about Morocco's World Cup run felt like destiny at the time. It felt like survival under extreme pressure. Morocco weren't just winning matches, they were resisting collapse. Every game felt like a war of discipline, emotional control, and tactical sacrifice. And yet, in that suffocating environment, something extraordinary was happening. A team from Africa was breaking limits that had stood for over a century of international football. When Achraf Hakimi stepped up against Spain in the knockout stage, the entire continent of Africa seemed to pause. His Panenka penalty wasn't just a technical execution, it was a psychological detonation. That single moment sent Morocco into the World Cup semifinals and shattered a glass ceiling no African or Arab nation had ever broken before. But this wasn't luck. It wasn't a one-off miracle. It was the result of decades of cultural evolution. To understand Morocco's rise, you have to go far beyond Qatar. Football in Morocco is not just entertainment, it is identity, structure, and national expression. The foundation was laid long before modern tactical analysis existed, starting with legends like Larbi Benbarek, known as the Black Pearl. He was one of the first African players to dominate European football at the highest level. His legacy wasn't just skill, it was proof of concept. Moroccan talent could define global football. By 1970, Morocco became the first African nation to qualify for a post-war World Cup. This was not just participation, it was a statement of tactical maturity. But the world truly began to take notice in 1986 in Mexico. That Morocco team entered one of the most difficult groups in World Cup history. England, Poland, and Portugal. They were expected to fail. Instead, they topped the group. Led by Mohamed Timoumi's creativity and Badou Zaki's goalkeeping brilliance, Morocco played with structure, intelligence, and resilience. Their 3-1 win over Portugal didn't just shock the world, it redefined African football credibility. Morocco became the first African nation to reach the round of 16 in a World Cup. But what followed was decades of inconsistency. The talent was always present, especially from the Moroccan diaspora in France, Spain, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The problem was structural fragmentation. There was no unified system connecting talent to identity. That changed when Morocco began investing heavily in football infrastructure under a long-term national vision. The most important development was the Mohammed VI Football Academy in Saleh. This wasn't just a training center, it was a production system for elite athletes. It combined European sports science, tactical education, and Moroccan raw talent into a single pipeline. At the same time, domestic clubs like Wydad Casablanca and Raja Casablanca evolved into continental powerhouses. Morocco's league became more competitive, more structured, and more tactically disciplined. By the time Morocco arrived at the 2022 World Cup, they were no longer an underdog in development. They were a system that had matured. Their defensive discipline, compact structure, and emotional unity made them one of the most difficult teams to break down in the tournament. But Qatar was only the beginning, not the peak. Because the real question now is whether that moment was a peak or the first chapter of a new global football power. Morocco's modern system under Regragui is built on controlled chaos within structure. At its core, it is a 4-2-3-1 formation that transforms into a 3-1-6 in attacking phases. The asymmetry is intentional. One fullback stays deeper to stabilize possession, while Achraf Hakimi operates as a high-pressing attacking force on the opposite side. This allows Morocco to create width without sacrificing central control. Amrabat remains a tactical anchor, reading transitions and breaking up attacks. His presence is what allows the entire structure to remain balanced even when fullbacks push forward aggressively. Ounahi provides progression through midfield, often acting as the bridge between defense and attack. His ability to carry the ball under pressure is critical in bypassing pressing systems. But the true creative evolution happens in the final third. Brahim Diaz adds elite technical creativity in tight spaces. He is the type of player who can break compact defenses with a single turn or disguised pass. Hakim Ziyech adds unpredictability from wide areas, often drifting centrally to create overloads. Amin Adli provides vertical directness and attacking runs that stretch defenses. Together, they overload Zone 14, the most dangerous creative space in football. En-Nesyri remains a focal striker, attacking crosses and diagonal passes. However, Morocco's biggest weakness is still finishing consistency. If he is isolated, Morocco can sometimes overplay in attacking zones without producing final execution. Another vulnerability comes from Hakimi's advanced positioning. When he pushes forward, space can open in the right defensive channel. Against elite counter-attacking teams, this can become a critical risk. But Morocco compensates for this with structure, discipline, and elite recovery speed. The squad also has emerging talent like Walid Benbarek, who represents the next generation of Moroccan creativity. His dribbling, unpredictability, and ability to operate between lines make him a potential breakout star in major tournaments. Overall, Morocco's biggest strength is continuity. Unlike most international teams, they are not assembled. They are synchronized. Many players have developed together through youth systems, academies, and shared tactical philosophy. That cohesion is what makes them dangerous. After 2022, Morocco entered a completely new phase of identity. The question was no longer whether they could defend against elite teams, it was whether they could evolve beyond being a defensive tournament team. Under Walid Regragui, the answer became clear. Evolution was not optional. It was necessary. The 2026 World Cup qualification campaign in Africa became the testing ground for that transformation. CAF qualifying is one of the most physically demanding competitions in world football. Long travel distances, hostile environments, and highly physical opposition make it a tactical endurance test. But Morocco approached it differently. Instead of relying on the deep defensive structure that defined Qatar, they used qualification as an experimental phase. They entered Group E and delivered a perfect record. 8 wins from 8 matches, with dominant goal scoring and an almost impenetrable defense. But the real story wasn't the results, it was the transformation in style. In previous years, Morocco could struggle against low blocks, especially when opponents refused to press and simply waited to counterattack. But in this cycle, Regragui introduced a more aggressive and fluid identity. The tactical foundation shifted into a 4-2-3-1 structure that could morph dynamically during possession. In build-up, the left back often dropped inside to form a temporary back three, while Achraf Hakimi was given complete freedom to push high and operate almost like a winger. This created a controlled asymmetry. One side stabilized possession, while the other became an explosive attacking channel. Sofiane Amrabat anchored the midfield as a defensive shield. His role was to eliminate counterattacks before they even began. Ahead of him, Azzedine Ounahi functioned as the progressive engine, breaking lines with dribbling, tempo changes, and vertical passing. The system's most dangerous phase came in advanced areas. Morocco began overloading central zones rather than relying on traditional wing play. Players like Hakim Ziyech, Brahim Diaz, and Amine Adli drifted into central pockets known as Zone 14, creating numerical superiority between midfield and defense. This forced opponents into impossible decisions: step out and lose structure, or stay deep and allow creative overloads. Once space opened, Youssef En-Nesyri became the finishing reference point, attacking diagonals and blindside runs. Heading into the 2026 World Cup, Morocco enters Group C with confidence in structure and expectation. This is no longer an underdog situation, it is a test of whether they can become a consistent global powerhouse. Their group includes Haiti, Scotland, and Brazil, a perfect balance of tactical challenges. The opening match against Haiti is a must-win. It will likely involve a low defensive block designed to frustrate Morocco. The key will be early creativity and breaking the deadlock before pressure builds. Against Scotland, Morocco faces a physically intense and tactically disciplined opponent. This match will test midfield control, set-piece defense, and game management. A draw or narrow win could define qualification. The final group match against Brazil is the ultimate test. It will decide group leadership and potentially shape the entire knockout path. Brazil brings elite individual brilliance and attacking unpredictability, making this a tactical and emotional clash. 3 scenarios emerge. In the worst case, Morocco struggles against compact defenses, drops points early, and exits in the knockout stages against a stronger European side. In the best case, they top the group, build momentum, and make another deep semi-final run. The most realistic outcome places Morocco finishing second in the group, advancing confidently through early knockout rounds, and eventually exiting in the quarterfinals against a top-tier opponent like France or Argentina. But regardless of outcome, Morocco's importance in global football is already clear. They represent the future of international football structure, where national identity, tactical planning, infrastructure, and diaspora talent merge into one system. They are no longer outsiders. They are contenders. And as the 2026 World Cup approaches, the final question remains. Was 2022 the miracle or the beginning of something much bigger?